everybody, I'm Victoria, and today I've got another Top 5 Wednesday for you. What's Top 5 Wednesday? It is a Goodreads group that was started by Lainey from Ginger Reads Lainey and is currently moderated by Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. As always, links down in the description. So today's topic is our top 5 favorite second books in a series. So I thought this was kind of oddly specific, and I took it to mean more like our favorite middle books in a series. So maybe the beginning or the end weren't fantastic, but the middle books were our favorites. So let's start off with one of my favorite second books in a series that I read so far this year, and that is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. So this is the second book in the Six of Crows series. I read Six of Crows and enjoyed it. It was a solid 4 stars for me. I did have some issues with it, and I couldn't really get behind the hype that everybody was saying that it was the most amazing book ever. But then I read Crooked Kingdom, and this bad boy here took care of all the things, all the issues I had with the first book. I absolutely adored this and gave it 5 out of 5. In case you don't know, this is a YA fantasy series that is set in the same universe as Leigh Bardugo's Grisha series. And so we have lots of different magic things, and there's also a heist going on, and I definitely highly recommend this. Next up, I'm going to choose book 2 and 3 from The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. This is a YA magical realism story where we follow several different students at a private academy as they make friends with Blue, who is a local girl who is from a family of psychics. Overall, I really enjoyed this series, but for me, I think that the second book, and especially the third book, so here I'm kind of bending the rules with only second books, I think that they really stood out. The first book I enjoyed, I gave it 4 stars, but honestly, I think that the pacing was a little slow. It took a while to get into. And the fourth book, I didn't love the way that the series wrapped up, but I absolutely adored the second and especially the third book in this series. The second is The Dream Thieves, and we just have a great expansion of character. We really get to see these characters develop, and that continues on into the third book, Blue, Lily, Lily, Blue, and their character arc just continues on fantastically. We also get to see quite a bit of forward motion with the plot. These boys and girl are trying to find a buried Welsh king, and like I said, the plot just moves forward. There's a lot more action, and the characters are just fantastic in this. So for me, the second and the third are the best installments in this series. Next up, we have the second and the third book in the Immortal series by Tamara Pierce. So again, I'm kind of twisting the idea of specifically second book because this is a quartet, and picking both the second and the third book. This is a YA fantasy, and it tells the story of Dane, who has a special kind of magic. She has wild magic, which allows her to communicate with animals. I enjoyed the series overall, absolutely loved it. The first book was fun, but it is an introduction, and Dane doesn't know the full extent of her powers. But in the second and the third book, we get to explore a bit more. I was slightly disappointed by the finale. I thought that it was maybe not as wonderful as the rest of the series and kind of let me down a little bit, but the second and the third are fantastic. In this book specifically, we get to see Dane communicate with animals, and she makes animal friends and uses them really intelligently, and I absolutely love this. And then in the third book, Emperor Mage, we get to see less animals, which is kind of sad, but we have a little bit more political intrigue and the gods interfering directly in people's lives. So I absolutely adored these 2 books, and I think they're the standout of the series. Next up, we have the second and third book in the Queen's Thief series. I feel like I talk about this every single Top 5 Wednesday, but there's a reason for that. These are fantastic. So the first book, I don't have that. I don't have the first book in the series. This is the 5th book. This is the only one I have a physical copy of. But this series, I think the second and the third book are a standout, most especially the second book, definitely second book in this. So the first book is a good middle grade YA fantasy, kind of loosely based on ancient Greece, and we get to meet our main character, Eugenides, also known as Jen, who is the greatest thief in the world. But the second book, the world just opens up and expands, and we get kind of a more mature tone to it, and the plot twist is amazing and fantastic, so obviously I can't tell you very much about it, except that it's wonderful. And the third book also, I know this is a lot of people's favorite. Mine is the second book in the series, but the third is also equally amazing and plot twisty and developed. I will say that the fourth and fifth book are still amazing. I highly recommend the series, but we don't really center on Jen, and Jen is just a fantastic character, compelling character, that not seeing him just made it a little not as fantastic as the second and third book, but I still highly recommend the series overall. I'm just going to say that the second book was great. And last but not least, we have the Turner series by Courtney Milan. This is an adult historical romance, specifically Regency historical romance series, and we follow the three different Turner brothers. Each one is technically a companion novel that can be read as a standalone, but I wouldn't recommend it. I was okay with the first one. I thought it was decent. It wasn't the most amazing thing ever. Gave it 3 stars. And I really enjoyed the third one. I thought it was great. But the second one contains one of my favorite historical romance heroes ever. It is wonderful. So essentially we follow Sir Mark Turner, who has declared that he is going to remain a virgin until he is married. The reasons become clear. They are rational. They make sense. It's not some kooky pants kind of thing. He doesn't come across as being extremely preachy or anything. If anything, he is just super flirty and fabulous and understanding, and is sort of like a proto-feminist in a way. I just absolutely adored his character. We also have Jessica, who is the female protagonist in this, and basically the story is that a political rival of Mark's has hired Jessica, who is a courtesan, to try and seduce Mark and then smear his reputation. Jessica is also a fascinating character. The story is so interesting in that she kind of needs to, because she has been a courtesan for most of her life, she is able to break through and kind of re-own her sexuality, and I absolutely love that. And as I said, Mark is a fantastic character. There is a definite feminist message. There's a discussion of why certain social expectations are put upon women as opposed to men. And again, like I said, despite the fact that he doesn't have sex, he is really flirty and fun, and I absolutely love this book. So if you're looking for a romance novel with something a little bit different that definitely discusses gender norms within a Victorian society, I would highly recommend this. So that is it. Those are my top 5 second or in the middle of a series books that I thought were the best. Do you guys have any of those? I'm curious to see if maybe some beginning and end books weren't the greatest, but you absolutely love the middle books. Let me know down in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.